The crash of breaking glass reverberated through the silent kitchen, accompanied by a child's heartbroken cry. White liquid cascaded from her tangled hair, saturating her small dress and pooling around the infant she held protectively in her shaking arms. Above her stood her stepmother, imposing and furious, gripping the empty pitcher like a trophy of conquest. The child's fragile voice pierced the stillness. "Please, Mommy, I'm sorry." Though not her biological mother, terror compelled her to speak the word. At that precise moment, the door groaned open, revealing a man dressed in a pristine brown suit who stopped cold at the threshold, his briefcase tumbling from his grasp. His eyes grew wide, his muscles tensed, and a booming command burst forth. "Stop. If you believe no child deserves cruelty and that kindness and second chances can change lives, then please take a moment to like this video, comment, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel, Untold Story 0.4. Your support spreads these powerful messages of love and compassion to more hearts around the world. The young girl was called Emily. Though merely 7 years old, existence had already etched wounds into her delicate spirit that would challenge even grown men and women. Her birth mother had died 3 years prior, leaving her father shattered and adrift, consumed by the ache of mourning. He had rushed into remarriage, desperately seeking to mend what grief had torn apart. However, his decision, despite good intentions, cast shadows over Emily's formative years. Her stepmother, Vanessa, presented herself as gracious and refined when others were watching. Yet within the privacy of their home, her volatile nature dominated like a raging tempest. Emily's existence became an endless cycle of tasks beyond her physical capabilities, accusations for transgressions she had never committed, and consequences that left her weeping silently in hidden spaces while comforting her infant brother, Alex. She had assumed the dual roles of sibling and caregiver, holding him close when Vanessa's voice boomed through the house, singing gentle melodies when terror made his small body tremble. For Emily, her brother represented her sole beacon of hope, the singular motivation that sustained her through each day. That particular morning had unfolded just like countless others before it. Golden sunbeams poured through the kitchen windows, bright and welcoming, though the atmosphere within remained frigid. Emily had mistakenly let slip a bowl of cereal while attempting to nourish her brother. The dish exploded into fragments. The white liquid pooled across the tiles, and Vanessa's wrath ignited like wildfire. "You worthless child!" she had shrieked before grabbing the milk container and pouring its contents over Emily's small head. Emily's vision blurred with shame as she drew her brother closer, protecting him from the deluge, murmuring regrets through her tears. Precisely then, her father, Richard, arrived home without warning. Richard was an accomplished entrepreneur, a man who had constructed his business empire from humble beginnings, yet had somehow forgotten what truly mattered, his children's well-being. He had remained oblivious, wholly focused on professional obligations, placing too much faith in Vanessa's carefully crafted facade. However, on this day, when he entered his kitchen and witnessed his daughter collapse on the ground, soaked in dairy, protecting her sobbing infant brother, while Vanessa stood menacingly above them, something within his core fractured. The image cut through him more brutally than any corporate betrayal or monetary setback. "Stop!" His command reverberated throughout the residence, bringing all motion to a halt. Vanessa's complexion drained of color as she whirled around, her words tangling together, justifications forming on her lips. Yet Richard's attention remained elsewhere. His gaze was fixed upon Emily, his precious daughter, quaking and drenched, yet still safeguarding her brother. In that instant, he recognized everything he had failed to notice. The terror in her expression that wasn't recent, how her tiny frame bore responsibilities far exceeding her capacity, the way she regarded him with simultaneous longing and uncertainty, as if questioning whether he would acknowledge her anguish. Richard lunged forward, falling to his knees beside his children. He carefully lifted the infant into his embrace, then encircled Emily with his other arm, drawing her against him. The scent of spilled milk, the sound of her weeping, the vision of her wet hair clinging to her face. Every detail burned itself into his consciousness. He murmured apologies that could never erase the damage already done. Yet Emily's small arms wrapped around him frantically, as if terrified he might vanish. Vanessa attempted to justify herself, her tone harsh and combative. She wove falsehoods about Emily's clumsiness, about instilling discipline and accountability. However, Richard had witnessed reality with his own sight. His voice remained steady, unnaturally controlled, as he faced Vanessa and declared, "Gather your belongings. You will depart from this house immediately." Her objections rang out, but his resolve was unshakable. For years, he had ignored subtle warnings, brushed aside his instincts, persuaded himself that Emily was simply adapting. Yet the evidence was now impossible to deny, and nothing held greater importance than safeguarding his children. The period that followed proved challenging. Emily remained delicate, her faith in others damaged. During the night hours, she would startle awake from terrible dreams, grasping her brother tightly, fearing Vanessa's return. Richard remained at her bedside, gently rocking her, speaking promises that harm would never touch her again. He understood that the fortune he had accumulated held no value if it had cost him his children's happiness and purity. He reduced his work schedule, returned home sooner, prepared meals alongside Emily, sharing laughter as they scattered ingredients and mastered new dishes together. Gradually, Emily's spirit began to mend. Her joy emerged in tentative moments, cautious initially, then flowing more naturally as security took root once more. She continued to keep Alex near, ever watchful as before, but now she shared that responsibility with her father's constant support. Richard, too, experienced his own restoration. He discovered how to be truly present, to value the music of Emily's giggles, to hold sacred the peaceful instances of embracing his children. Yet what shone brightest was Emily's extraordinary fortitude. Even after enduring such harsh treatment, her soul remained compassionate. One evening, several months afterward, Richard discovered her seated near the window, humming a gentle song to her brother. He joined her and inquired quietly, "Do you harbor hatred for her, Emily?" Speaking of Vanessa, Emily moved her head from side to side deliberately. "No, Daddy. I simply hope she won't harm anyone else." Her response penetrated his heart. Such suffering experienced, yet no resentment lingered. Her spirit stayed untainted, filled with courage that surpassed her tender age. Richard realized in that moment that Emily's compassion was her most powerful quality, one that even cruelty could not destroy. And through her strength, he discovered his own path to forgiveness. He promised to provide her with the childhood she was owed, abundant with love, protection, and happiness. This narrative serves as a testament that children represent the most pure beings in our midst, and no achievement, no fortune, no personal drive justifies their suffering. What truly matters is love, being present, and showing kindness. If this story moved your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Untold Stories 0.4. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world of the power of love, compassion, and second chances. Before we end, we have a special request. Please leave a comment with the words, "Love protects," if you believe every child deserves kindness and safety. And thus Emily's sorrow gradually transformed into joy, her terror into confidence, her isolation into connection. All because one day a father awakened to reality, declared stop, and selected love above all other considerations.